welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia. Today I have my second UNHAUL video ever. I found a few more books that I had in my bookshelf which I'll never read, let's be real. So I'm parting with them. They're going to a better place, which is my community bookshelf. I don't hate these books. I'm not trying to bash on any of the writers. These are just books that I don't think I'll ever read for various reasons, but mostly because a lot of these books are part of very large series, like 8-15 book series, and they're not the first book in the series, so I know I'll never actually read all of the books that I will have to read to get to this book. And even if I do, I can get it at the library instead of having all of these books just in my bookshelf taking space. The first book that I have over here is Frozen Heat, and this is by Richard Castle. I think it's like a detective kind of suspense book, which I do love this kind of books. However, this I think is the 4th or the 5th book in the series, and I just know I'm not gonna read all those other books before I get to this one because there's so many other books that I want to read before I even think about this series. So I'm gonna give it a better home. Then I have Festive in Death, and this is another detective, suspense, drugs, and crime kind of book. I don't think this one's actually part of a series. I just don't feel too attached to it. Like, I don't really feel like picking it up and reading it, and I don't think I'm gonna do it anytime soon. I don't know, I just don't really want it in my bookshelf. Then I have 2 books by Lee Child. They're both part of the same series. They're like Jack Reacher. Yeah, they're both part of the Jack Reacher series. One is called One Shot and the other one is called The Affair. And I just don't think I'll ever get to collect the rest of the series. It's quite a large series. I don't remember how many books there are in this series at this point, but there's quite a lot. I was trying to add them to my to-be-read list on Goodreads, and I realized that there's a ton of books before I could even read this one. So I decided to part with them. Then I have a Stuart Woods novel, and this is part of the Stone Barrington novels, and this one's called Unnatural Acts, and it's the same story. There's just a ton of books about this character, and although some of these books you don't have to read in a specific order, but they do reference back to previous events that took place in other books, and I won't understand it the same if I don't read the other books first, and I know something that's just gonna bother me, so I'd rather just move on and pick up something else from the millions of books that I have piled up back there. Along the same lines, I have another series novel, and this one is part of the Paul Madrany novels. It's by Steve Martini, and it's called Trader of Secrets, and I think this is like a political drama kind of novel, which I've never really read any, but I've watched a few shows, and I'm just not too in love with that kind of, book. But anyways, the reason why I don't want this one is because there's quite a few books before this one that I will have to read. Same as with the previous books, basically. So I'm moving on and I'm letting it go to a better place. Then I have 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. I just know I will never read this series. I've read a few sneak peeks here and there, but I don't think I'll ever really enjoy it or take the time to read this novel. I feel that there's plenty other erotica novels that are much better written than this one. And I just have not heard a good thing from anybody reliable about this book. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it to somebody else who may want it or want to read it. Then I'm parting with The Drop, and this is a Michael Connelly book, and it's part of the Harry Bosch novel. There is like 20-something books of this character, okay? This one is like, I think, number 21. Yes, no, I'm not gonna ever catch up to a series that is that advanced. It's too many books and it's too intimidating, so I won't do it. But it's supposed to be another one of those mystery kind of books, which I do enjoy them. I just don't want to invest the time nor the money in all the previous books that I will have to read before I even get to read this one. Another enormous series book is this one over here by Jeffery Deaver. It's a Lincoln Rhyme novel and it's called The Broken Window, and I also think this is like the 4th or 5th book in the series. I'm not going to read all the previous books before I get to this one, so there you go. I'm getting rid of it. So the next book is one that I really wanted to read. I was super excited about it because I've heard so many good things about the writers, but when I looked into it, it's the same as with the previous books I've mentioned. Basically, they're part of a series that is well into development, and there's just too many books to read before I can even get into this particular book. So I think I'm gonna let go of the book, and I'll probably still get maybe a smaller one of their series out of the library and read it that way. But anyways, the book I'm talking about is this one right here, and it's by Clive Cussler and Dirk Cussler, and it's called Crescent Dawn. And this one is part of a Dirk Pitt novel, but there's so many books and they're quite large too, so it would take me a lifetime to catch up on this series. I'll look for a different series by them that maybe is shorter. I don't know, I'll have to actually look into it. But they're supposed to be very good, like adult sci-fi writers, and I'm just intrigued and I wanted to read something by them, but unfortunately this won't be it. The next two are actually comic books, and the first one is a Iron Man comic book, which is very shocking for me because I love Iron Man. But this is Superior Iron Man Volume 1, and I recently read it, and it was an alright storyline. I was just not too impressed with the storyline itself, and I didn't like this version of Iron Man. I like the complex Iron Man that's not 100% sure, like that has good intentions but sometimes does the wrong thing. But this one was just not my cup of tea. I didn't enjoy it personally, so I'll be parting with this one. I'm sure somebody else will love it. And the last thing that I'm unhauling this time around is the worst thing I have ever read in my life. Is this comic right here, and it's called Troublemaker. It's by Jeanette Evanovich and Alex Evanovich, and the art is by Joel Jones, and the art was the only thing in this comic that caught my attention. Everything else was absolutely horrible in my opinion. The writing was just so bad. The plot was just, what plot? There was no plot. It was just so not enjoyable for me personally. So I'm saying goodbye to this one because I know it's something I will never read again, ever. There you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know there's quite a lot of books, but you've no idea how many books I have piled up right behind me that I have to somehow fit into that bookshelf. Although I've been trying very hard not to purchase books, I still just have so many that have not made it to the bookshelf yet, and I hope to change that. And these are just books that I know I'm not going to read, so why hold on to them when there's somebody out there who was probably looking for them, you know, to read them. I hope to see you guys very soon in another video. Bye!